you find yourself up against a wall and the firing squad is getting into position, take off your blindfold and ask the dude for a cigarette, then spit on him. That's Ricker's advice in today's dojo game review. And Ricker did a pretty interesting, let's call it poetic analysis of his game. And I think it's useful to talk about your emotions and everything else that's going on in the game. I'm going to point to a couple instances where I think it would be helpful if Ricker gave us some variations. But in general, I think he's improving with his annotations, his game, and hopefully I'll be able to give some constructive criticism about how to do the annotations. Okay, so let's get into it. This is a daily game, meaning that he had a whole day to play it. I think both players are rated around 1,200. The beauty of a daily game is you really have some time to think and you're going to blunder less. The scary thing, and you know Ricker suspects his opponent of this in this game, is you're never, you know, the temptation for your opponent to cheat is just so strong that you don't know if he's actually cheating or not. In any case, let's take a look. Bishop b5, knight f6, and now takes. And Ricker, I think this is an important moment to think about what's happening. So, as you know, I'm a real obsessive about time. And what I want you to see about bishop takes knight is other people will tell you the problem with this move is you're giving up the bishop, and that's kind of true. But more importantly, what's happening is you are giving him, you're trading this move for this move, and when he plays that move, it's a free developing move because he's got to make at least 2 pawn moves to get his guys out, and boom, there he's got it. So you're going to lose some time when you do this. If, let's say, castles or whatever, it's then common for black to play a6, and then if you want to take it, right? Well, you know, he's given us some time. All right, so snip, snop, knight c3, nota bene. The knight is dominated by the pawn, and we're going to see that configuration a couple times in this game. Good move. Okay. And now knight g4. Okay. He could have done many things here. I don't like knight g4, even if you think it's kind of scary. I get it that it's scary. If the guy has an advantage, it's because he's got nice development here. Rook e8, queen e7, bishop g4, all of those are plausible moves. But knight g4, this is, I think, an interesting imbalance. I was thinking about just what I was thinking about your game. Is so what we're going to get is you correctly hit the knight. We're going to get an imbalance of 2 pieces versus a rook and a pawn. It's a very common imbalance in chess. And it's, I think it's, of all the imbalances, it's the most confusing because it's rare that it's actually equal. It's rare that the rook and pawn is equal to the bishop and the knight. And in this case, I would say your bishop and knight are much stronger than the rook and the pawn. And there's a simple rule that I'd like to put like this. The more open the game becomes, the stronger the rook becomes. So at an early phase of the game, where you get a lot of these 2 pieces pluses with 2 pieces for rook and pawn exchanges, at the early phase of the game, it's not a good idea. And you can kind of see it here. Let's say take it back in this position. This knight on f6 and this bishop are doing amazing things, whereas this rook, it's a long road before he gets to do anything active. Same thing with this guy, right? So when he does this, thank you very much. And your minors now should be much more powerful because the board is not yet open, right? Okay, right? The knights don't need an open board to be powerful. All right, now there's a lot of things in here that I want you to say, like question mark or exclam for moves that you identify as a mistake. So, classic mistake here, bishop f2. Why? Because he doesn't really need to take the pinned piece. I'm saying that now. Maybe you are threatening d4, but in general, he does not want to take that thing. Okay, so important for black to understand. What does he want? It's very important. He wants to open the position. In the same way, if you've got bishops, you want to open the position. If you've got a rook versus a knight and a bishop, you want that board to open. So f5 would be my first instinct here. And really important to see, Rickers, you help him in this game to open the position. At the moment, I think you're great. And I want us to pay attention to your next two moves here, because I think it's important to think about what's going on. First, building moves, very natural. Bishop e3 makes sense. King g1 makes sense, right? What you do here is important to see is that it feels like you're developing, but f6 is a good move for him because it's dominating the knight. So in this position, both of your knights are actually dominated. And then this move is unfortunate because the bishop it's going to need some help before it gets back in the game. Now, I don't like this move, and I also don't like your reaction. Why? Because in general, he should be putting his pawns on dark squares, the same way these pawns are on dark squares, right? And here you have chances to maybe occupy a square like c5, which is to me the clue for you to play boom and boom. Now, should you be afraid of b4? No, you should welcome it. Your knight is dominated. Both of your knights need fixing. They need things to do. So here, definitely king g1. And what I want you to see, Rickers, when you do this analysis, just note, I love the poetic stuff, but just note where things, try to note where things went wrong. So for example, a5, good move, because now the rook, first of all, that was on a8 doing nothing, is now doing something. Queen b1, and now a mistake on your opponent's part, a4. Simple reason, now we know why, because he should be striving to open the position. So either queen d6 or just take the thing on b4. a3, bishop e6, and again, I want you to be sensitive to the bishop and the king. So a very simple maneuver would be here and here, and I love your position. In fact, let's just play a move or so here just to get a sense of it. Really a nice grip on the blockading squares. The rooks aren't doing anything. You can bring your queen back around. Perfect. Notice too that you have so many more pieces, 3 in fact, that can talk to the dark squares, and his bishop cannot, right? Okay, so knight e2, your opponent freaks out. Almost always a mistake in this kind of position because your minor pieces are searching. They're searching for a way into the position of the black king, and g5 is going to create holes on squares like h5 and f5. Again, same reason that it's bizarre. And again here, Rick, it's very simple. Put your king here, put your bishop here, put your knight there. Everybody's working. This is just some rude demonstration on the side of the board. And notice your opponent doesn't really have a plan. He's just shoving stuff. He's just shoving stuff forward, right? Okay, h4. Now, not a bad idea, but it's going to take you some time to reorganize your stuff now. c5, good move. Why? He wants to open the position. This is why we would have loved to have controlled the b4 square. Now, what would I like you to do here? King g1, bishop f2. That's what I want you to do. Knight f1. And now one of the weirdest things happens here, Ricker. And you don't say anything about it. Snip, and then you don't recapture the pawn, dog. What's going on? This is how you're going to face the firing squad. Just take the pawn back. Just take it back. You're doing fine. And now after this, it's a little frightening. You still might be okay, but it's now officially frightening because here we come and rook a6. Now, am I certain about rook a6? No, but let's talk about your move here. You commit a crime and you play c4. A crime because now these pawns are connected and passed, and because this is happening. What do you need to do? You need to start thinking about getting the lady inside there, right? And that's ultimately how you're going to win the game, but you need to start thinking about it now. And there's a couple ways. You could play knight f5 immediately, or again, boom, 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 boom. And once you get that, once the boom happens, it's all the way it's happening because it's a mating net idea. Organize your guys. He's giving you weak squares. Put them in there. All right. Amazing. Now you say that is actually a move. I guess it's a move, Ricker. I guess it scares me. I don't know why we're doing it. So queen d3 and b3 both look good. Thank you very much. And should he be winning now? Yes. Okay. Good move. And this move I really want to give some praise for. So the guy is probably thinking he's winning this thing, and then you smack him with that. I love it. Now, one of the beautiful things I want you to see about the following continuation is the same thing I noted before, namely that he has troubles on the dark squares, right? Boom, boom, boom. Now he just goes for it, blithely going along. Check to the miserable king. Check. And now he needs to be really careful. I'm going to guess king e8 is the right move for him. But there's still some talking to do after king e8. Still some talking. He blunders it here. Knight f5, b1 queen. Okay, Ricker. This is, again, an example of where, we were talking a lot of stuff about strategy before, and this is just a very sweet and simple tactic. So I'll leave it to you here. What are we going to say? Mate in 3. All right. Anybody can use that. If they don't see it, you can pause the video. Mate in 3 here. That's the kind of thing I would want you to see in the notes. How would it go? Here it comes. Queen h8. Check to the miserable king. Check. Now, might seem like a fancy tactic, but on the other hand, notice dark squares. Dark squares. He's got that light square bishop, and your minor pieces are dancing all over him, right? And you can see once he played g5, already there we could have started thinking about bringing the cavalry into f5. So the guy still thought he was doing okay. We repeated. And then he did this thing. Uh-oh. Check and mate. So very nice game. And Ricker, you're doing great. These annotations are great. For the next time, what I'm hoping for is the same amount of poetry, but also some variations and some thinking about what's going on. So, for example, when you try to notice things in here like, oh, I'm giving him time by doing this, right? And this thing is in a little bit advanced, this kind of thing, but you'll see this again, this dynamic that we're talking about here. Also, another thing you'll see again is the dead bishop on the side of the board. These are the kinds of things I want to be in the back of your mind. And also then when you feel the bad piece, then the need to fix him, something like that. Okay, thank you very much, Ricker, and until the next time, bye-bye.